Hey everyone, welcome to Judging for the Win. I'm Dave, and this is my daily ruling. Amy plays Grim Captain's Call and says, I'm returning my Lord of Atlantis. Nick responds by saying, okay, in that case, I'm going to exile your Lord of Atlantis using my Scavenging Ooze. Amy says, oh, in that case, I want to return my Master of the Pearl Trident instead. Is this allowed? Okay, so this is a really interesting question. And the reason is because Grim Captain's Call, unlike a lot of other similar effects that do the same sorts of things, does not use the word target anywhere on it. That means that this choice of which creatures that you're returning is not made during the process of casting the spell, but rather on the spell's resolution. This means that Amy, while she's perfectly okay saying her intentions ahead of time, she is not held to what she said if the circumstances change. In particular, this means that in this case, she definitely can return a different Merfolk card if she wants to. Note that another consequence of the choice being made on resolution is that if Nick were to ask Amy, what cards are you returning, then a judge would most likely interpret that as him saying that he's okay with the spell resolving, and therefore with Amy making choices that are normally made at that time. Therefore, if Nick were to ask such a question, he would be forfeiting any opportunity to respond to that spell if Amy gave any answers. Another important consequence of the fact that this spell isn't targeted is the fact that you're able to play it for less than full value. For example, if you were to have a Death's Duet, it wouldn't be legal for you to even cast that spell unless you had 2 creature cards in your graveyard to return. That's why these types of effects a lot of the time include a phrase such as up to X targets. That means that you won't have to choose that number of targets if you don't want to. You would be able to, for example, play a dutiful return and return only 1 creature card because it has that up to 2 phrasing. There's one other thing that I wanted to touch on related to that point. Notice that Grim Captain's Call does not indicate that it's optional for you to return any of the creatures to your hand. If you have a vampire, you're forced to return that vampire, even though it's legal for you to cast it with you having 0 vampires in your graveyard for you to return. What that means is that, for example, if you have a Bloodghast in your graveyard, you have to return it to your hand, unless you have another vampire that can go to your hand in its place. And that's all I have for you today. How did you do? Did any of these rulings catch you by surprise? I'd love to hear about that in the comments. Join me again tomorrow for another daily ruling, but until then, I hope you have a great day.